Halloween around. And today I'm talking about Conjuring Last Rites. That's right, the final installment, for now, of the Conjuring universe that began all the way back in 2013. It is now 10 movies strong. Yes, 10. I don't care what Peter Safran says. I count The Curse of La Llorona. And with it comes what is supposed to be a finale to this kind of horror version of the MCU, sort of, that has quietly been making Warner Brothers billions of dollars, well, at least a billion, ever since it launched in 2013. So there's a lot riding on this one. Some things it does well, some things it doesn't do too well. Let's get into The Conjuring Last Rites.
We've been waiting so patiently for you.
Whether or not you enjoy this movie is going to largely depend on whether or not you want a movie that is just about the Warrens and, them as characters and their stories and, what they're dealing with, or if you want to see a classic Warrens come into a haunted house and save the day. Because for a while, it does very much feel like two movies. But let's rewind a little bit. This deals with the Smurl haunting in West Pittston, Pennsylvania, my home state, which interestingly was already adapted as a TV movie in 1991 called The Haunted, which portrayed Ed and Lorraine Warren. You can watch a very low quality, I think, VHS version of it on YouTube. It's not bad for a 1991 TV movie, but this tells the same story, albeit in an extremely different way. And what do I mean by that? Most Conjuring movies, ever since, well, really going back to the first one, you always kind of had two storylines going. You had the family in peril, the family in the haunted house, and you saw, the build up, the haunting, to where they reach the point that they need to seek outside help. And then you had a storyline over here with Ed and Lorraine Warren, where they're kind of doing their thing. And then eventually the two converge. And then you have classic Conjuring stuff ensuing. In the first one, the Warrens almost feel like supporting characters. And I think it works for that movie to introduce you to the world. But I can accept that as you go on, you are going to want to get to know them more and have the story focus more on them, which is why the third one especially kind of features them front and center and gives them their own arc. And Last Rites very much continues that. And I don't want to downplay that, because I do genuinely like seeing them have their own stories and their own arcs that are separate from, the haunting going on. I feel like it takes a little too long for them to get to the haunted house, to the point that when they actually get there, there's not that much movie left to happen. So it feels like we have the Smurl haunting movie over here, and then we have the Ed and Lorraine and Judy Warren story over here. Not to say that either one is bad, or that, not that one necessarily took away from the other. I wanted to see more interaction between the two. And I think if you had them get to the Smurl house, maybe at least a third in, or maybe even almost halfway in, but it doesn't happen until it feels like it's more than halfway before we actually get to that point. As for a creepy haunted house movie, very effective. I've been on the fence, and I mean no disrespect to Michael Chavez. I'm saying that correctly. He's directed the last several entries in this franchise in a row. And I remember saying when The Devil Made Me Do It came out, you feel James Wan's absence as a director. I still kind of feel that with this one, but I think Michael Chavez, I mean, has grown with each movie, and this one he directs better than the previous three entries that he did direct. I think that he does a fantastic job with it, and it is effective. It is creepy. It plays with jump scares, and aside from a few scenes, which I'll mention in a minute, I think it effectively it misdirects you to, like, the scare is going to be over here, and actually gets you. I was in a packed crowd seeing it in IMAX, and you definitely you could feed off the energy of the crowd as like people were jumping and then like laughing because the movie had scared them. It's that sort of visceral horror into laugh because you're laughing as the release after being scared. That being said, and I don't want to blame Michael Chavez for this criticism I'm about to lay out because he is not the one who started it. But The Conjuring always felt like a very grounded horror movie, as all things considered. Then you get the weird crooked man stop motion animation thing in the second one, which, granted, is a very creepy scene. I always felt like it didn't really belong in that movie. That something like that belonged in like It or something like that. Conjuring Last Rites has a few of those scenes that I'm like, all right, I guess, yeah, this will make a cool visual and it'll play great when people clip it, for TikTok or something. But this doesn't feel like it should be in this movie. We're getting a little cartoonish here. There is also a huge focus on Judy, their daughter, and sort of her story, and maybe even like passing the baton to the next generation. I don't know if that's just New Line's way of setting up something in case they decide to do more spin-offs and sequels down the road with her. But I I'm on the fence about whether or not I like its inclusion because, again, while I do enjoy seeing the Warrens kind of do their own thing, I almost would have rather have seen a whole movie just focused on that and then a whole movie just it's two movies. It's not that they take away from each other, but it's just when you split them apart, this is not a 2-hour movie. It's two 45-minute movies and then like another 20-30 minutes of them converging that I don't know that it necessarily worked for me. It's also going very hard into trying to wrap things up. There are some last entry in a franchise fan service moments, which don't even really bother me. I'm sure fans are like, "Whoa, that person's back," and it's fun. But then the more you think about it, you're like, "Wait, should that person be here right now? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense." That didn't really bother me. That I mean, honestly, it amused me. I got a good laugh out of it. It's just if you are going into Conjuring Last Rites looking for like a final wrap up with fan service that makes the Warren story kind of come full circle and wrap up nice and neat, this is a decent conclusion. It's not an epic or solid conclusion. It is a decent conclusion. If you are looking for just another one off, let's see the Warrens go investigate a really haunted house and have them do their thing, I think you're going to be a little bit disappointed. So, your enjoyment of the movie will heavily depend on what you want to get out of it. I kind of wanted the latter only because I've read all their books, I've read all these cases, and there are these really really interesting cases. And the first two movies, I felt like the paranormal cases came first, and everything else came second, and it worked for in service of that. The third and the fourth one feel like the interpersonal stuff comes first, and the case is kind of an afterthought. But hey, these are just my thoughts. These are just my ramblings. This is just my channel. If you don't like it, get your own. Let me know in the comments, what did you think of Conjuring Last Rites? How did it compare for you to the other movies? Do you feel like it was a satisfying conclusion to this 10 movie, 12-year run? Like, share, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff. If you don't, you may end up stuck in a haunted house with weird, creepy, uh, occasionally stop motion and CGI ghosts coming after you. And as always, every day is Halloween.